Hello, aking mga ka-Igma. Thank you again for tuning into my channel. Um, today I think magiging very interesting ang ating pag-uusapan ngayon kasi actually gabi na. Dati ayoko mag-vlog ng gabing-gabi pero yeah. Well, anyway, ngayon lang ako nagka-time. So, yeah, today I'm going to I'm going to discuss to you about ang pinakahihintay ng marami about annulment. Okay, ready na ba kayo? Well, I'm going to start this vlog speaking in English just in case other people might want to know about annulment. But I might make a vlog and translate it into Tagalog. If I can, I will try my best, right? And I will also try my best in speaking in English, and I'm going to try my best to be able to tell you the important information that you needed about annulment. Disclaimer. Okay, disclaimer. I'm not pushing you to do your annulment. I'm just giving you information on the things that you needed to do if you are willing to do it or to do an annulment. I know how hard it is, mahirap magsimula kapag ito yung pinag-uusapan, annulment. Alright, so yes, annulment. So first and foremost, before you do your annulment, the most important thing you have to have is the right attorney. Yep. So I've started searching for my attorney 2 years prior my annulment. So, I've looked online and, I've asked friends of friends, and then, it's 2 years before. So, I prayed really hard for this. I prayed very hard for that decision because I know it is a very, very risky and hard decision. And I have to make sure that this is what I really wanted to do. Yeah, for some reason, the light is actually blinking. Guys, there's nothing. Don't be afraid, okay? It might blink at some point, but yeah, that's just the light. Anyway, so first of all, breaking a marriage would be the most difficult thing to deal with, right? So unfortunately, being married at a very young age when I was 19 and my ex was like 17. So yeah, he's younger. And not being able to see any of my family or friends in the event of our wedding day is even harder to accept, right? So it's really hard for me because I know I wasn't happy and he wasn't happy. I'll tell you more about it. So we never really wanted to get married in the first place. So I got pregnant and when you're young, you are afraid, right? So I'm afraid because I was pregnant, but I want to keep my baby. So, yeah. So, okay, not too much about that. Today, I will tell you about my journey in doing my annulment. So, just to let you know that in doing an annulment, you have to be ready. Okay, ready by means of you have to be mentally, you have to be emotionally, spiritually, and most importantly, financially ready. Yeah. Without money, you won't gonna be able to, start an annulment. Yeah. So also, it's better to do it if you're physically present, most especially in the court hearings. All right, so let's dig in. where should you file the petition for annulment or declaration of nullity of marriage? So I did mine in the Philippines. Unfortunately, only I think Vatican City and the Philippines are the only places where you cannot do divorce. All right. So the only thing we can be able to separate or be single, you have to be able to do an annulment. So yeah, Philippines and Vatican City. I think also Australia, but I think they changed. They just changed their law. So yeah, only in the Philippines. So the law gives you two options, which is the family court with jurisdiction over either of the residence of the husband or wife. So 6 months prior the filing of the petition, you have to be a resident in that area. So say, for example, you want to do it in Cebu. So you have to be a resident in Cebu for 6 months prior filing your petition. And so yeah, just for your information, the petitioner will be the one filing the annulment. It's called the appellant or the petitioner, and then the other one is the respondent, and which is also known as the appellee. And so how to file an annulment in the Philippines? Since there is no divorce in the Philippines, there are only two ways to end a marriage allowed by law. So the first is by an annulment. And the second is the declaration of nullity of marriage. All right, so yes, there are two differences. One is annulment and declaration of nullity of marriage. So in annulment, there is a valid marriage, but there are grounds to end the marriage. Okay, what are these grounds? Like, say, for example, impotence, having sexually transmitted disease, lack of parental consent. If both parties are actually between 18 and 21 years old. So yeah. And one party being of, unsound mind or psychologically disordered, and fraud or by force or intimidation in getting the consent of the party to the marriage. So intimidation. So yeah. So you are very young and you are being intimidated by the family just to get married and this and that. Just because you're pregnant, you get married, so you have to get married. Da 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 da. So in a declaration of nullity of marriage, so that is annulment. In doing the annulment, there are grounds. And the other one for the declaration of nullity is the marriage is actually void from the very beginning. Okay, and what makes it void is because of if you are below 18 years old. Okay, so lack of marriage license and psychological incapacity. That means you are still very young. You can't get married below 18 years old. So there are guides on how to file and process an annulment in the Philippines. So first is you have to search. Search what? So search everything about annulment. You have to know about annulment before you even do it. Okay? So you're probably here now because you are interested in doing an annulment. So you are in the right place. I'm going to help you, and hopefully I could be able to give you facts and important information, and yeah. So Again, as I said, before you do your annulment, you have to make sure that you are mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially ready. And if you are working abroad, I would suggest look for a court that considers court hearings via video conference, so it won't be too complicated to handle. Um, well, it's already complicated in the first place. so, uh, so yeah. Um, if you are working abroad, um, you have to make sure that the court will allow you to do a video conference, okay? Because it is very, very important. Anyway, once you are able to know everything about annulment, here's what you're gonna do. You have to hire a lawyer. Again, as I said, I did, I did search for a good lawyer for 2 years prior my annulment. So yeah, so look for your attorney, the right attorney for you. You have to have someone that is trustworthy, committed, not a profiteer. Uh, make sure the IDs and the documents are valid. Yeah, I've asked for my attorney's valid IDs and everything like that, and then the office, everything. I've asked him that, and uh, it should be a well-known office at law. You have to go look on Google and see if this is for real. You don't want to be fraud. So your attorney should be, somebody that is kind and understanding, right? So again, I started looking for my attorney 2 years prior to my annulment. So if you find the right attorney for you, the next thing you do is you have to do your psychological evaluation, or psychological exam. So after getting the right attorney for you, you will be asked to do a psychological evaluation. So you need to go to a psychologist. Usually, your attorney should be able to refer you, okay, to a psychologist. My attorney referred me to my psychological doctor since I am working abroad during that time. So before doing the psychological exam, you will be asked to pay. Personally, I paid 50,000 pesos. It can be less, maybe, I don't know. It can be more depending on the doctor or probably your attorney. So what I did with the psychological evaluation, I was evaluated. My family, my mom, my late dad, my sister, my daughter was there to be interviewed. And then my ex was also interviewed. He also had an exam. And on the other hand, his family was also interviewed. His mom, his dad, his sisters. So here, I think you should consider saving money for the expenses of the trip, or for your family, or whatever, other expenses. So yeah. So the scope of the psychological evaluation varies between psychologists. Okay, so some are more thorough than others. So normally it consists of written tests, which will determine your personality, and an interview where you will be asked about your spouse and your marriage. The psychologist and your attorney will ask you to make a marital history, which will form a basis of the petition and the psychological evaluation. So yeah, it was so much stuff to do. So I have to write them down, and then I have to email my attorney everything, and the doctor, all the information needed. It was really, really hard. again, I said you have to be mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially ready, because it's not easy. Because I'm just gonna sip some of my tea, okay? I feel nervous. I feel nervous. Oh, this is so good. This is mint tea. Anyway, after the psychological exam, the doctor will send you the results of the exam, and it will be the basis. It will serve as a basis for your grounds for an annulment. So, ready to go. So now it's filing for the petition. Oh, by the way, guys, before I forget, the cost for doing an annulment, in my case, it will be 250 to 350,000, but that's just for the annulment, except the other expenses. Okay, so yeah. So yeah. So after the psychological exam, you are now ready for filing the petition. So to file the petition, after the written psychological evaluation is released by the psychologist, your attorney will proceed to draft the petition, which will be filed in the court. So the facts they gathered from you during your initial consultation and the written psychological evaluation will be submitted to the court. And then I was actually working abroad during that time, so I have to look for the nearest Philippine embassy or consulate in order to validate my documents. So I have to pay for another attorney before, so I have to pay like, I think 25 to 30 for every document. They have to notarize the documents. So yeah, I have to go to an attorney to notarize the documents. And then that's like 25 to 30 CI per document. And I have like seven documents during that time. So yeah, one CI is like 52 to 57 pesos. So you will need to go to the nearest embassy to authenticate all the papers. I just feel when I remember everything about my annulment, it's just really, really hard. It's very, I feel emotional right now. It's never easy, guys, but if you are really willing to do it, as I said, you have to be ready. And everything, I really prayed to God. I know that God doesn't want a broken family, of course, but of course God also doesn't want us to be unhappy. He wants us to be happy, and he knows your situation. In whatever situation you have, whatever reason you have, in why you want to do what you do, why you want to do an annulment or whatever, he knows you by heart, right? If that's really what you wanted to do, then go for it. If you can, why not? So yeah, for the authentication of all the papers, I have to pay 150 CI. 150 CI. That's like almost 10,000 pesos already for every page of the document. So the authentication, I have to do it twice. Luckily, I can put all my documents together. So after the notarization, I can put them all together as one to notarize it. So I mean to authenticate it. So I did everything twice, unfortunately. So you can combine all your documents so it won't cost you too much. Okay, so and by the way, I have to use FedEx to send all my documents after after authorizing them, and I paid like 85 CI. 85 CI. So that's like another 5,000 pesos for sending my documents to the Philippines. It's no easy, guys, but you can do it. So when the petition is filed in court, it will go through the process of being assigned to a judge by raffle. Yes, they do a raffle. I didn't know that before. I was like, what raffle? Why? And so yeah, they usually do a raffle which is open to the public. And so after filing the documents in the court will then notify the other party by summon. Okay, so an order to appear before a judge. So once everything is ready and ready for the court trial, they're gonna send a summon to your ex, an order to appear before a judge. So there is this situation you might want to know. So how will the court notify my husband or my wife if I do not know where he or she lives? Okay, so the law provides that if the residence of the other spouse is not known, the court may require the service of the summons by publication in newspaper of general circulation in the Philippines, once a week or 2 consecutive weeks. There are specific rules for the service of the summons, and which is the initial notice given by the court to the other party that there is a petition for declaration of nullity filed against him or her, and gives him the opportunity to answer and participate in the case. So, but he doesn't really have to appear, but he needs to receive the summon. So yeah, if you know your ex's address, then that's good. If you do not know, then that's the time when things can kind of like a little bit more complicated, and you're gonna have to pay more. Okay, because it requires publication. Yeah. But anyway, for me, I did not do that. So I just have to use my ex's address, which I already know. So yeah. So so number 5. So after filing the petition, you have to attend the pre-trial and collusion investigation. So yeah. By the way, guys, in doing an annulment, you can't have a collusion with your ex, okay? You can't decide. Both of you you're not supposed to be talking to each other, no communication, okay? So no collusion because if they find out that you guys have a collusion with the marriage, what I mean by that is like you are talking about your annulment, or you're asking the other party to pay for the annulment, the half of the annulment or whatever. No, you can't do that. Okay? So if you want to do your annulment, you have to do it on your own. You don't ask the other party to pay for the other half or whatever. Okay? It's your own decision. And he doesn't have or she doesn't have to do anything with your decision. You can't have a collusion. Okay, it's against the law. So the judge to be picked in the raffle will receive the case, and then it will be scheduled for pre-trial. The court will also issue an order asking the prosecutor assigned to the court to conduct a collusion investigation. So the Philippine law does not allow for the parties to agree to an annulment, unlike in some other countries where there is consensual mutual consent during during the pretrial process. The judge will limit the issues involved in the case and may direct the parties to also submit to a mediation to determine if they agree on a certain preliminary issues like child support or custody or visitation if child is an issue. So here's another question. Do I have to attend the collusion investigation in person, or can it be done by video conference? So in my case, because I was working abroad, I did a video conference. So the rules which allow for video conference seems to apply only to the courts. So it depends on the court. However, it is already allowed for the court itself. There may be so there may be justification for the judge to allow it for the actual collusion investigation. So yeah, so they allowed me to do a collusion investigation via a video conference. My attorney was my representative during my pre-trial, again, because I was working abroad. So this was also done by authorizing him through special power of attorney. Again, that one I have to get the paper notarized. So yes, so next to the pre-trial is now the court hearing. So with the court hearing, it was pandemic during the court hearing. So yeah, so a trial of an annulment case during my annulment, it was pandemic. So yeah, it took like 2 years since I filed the petition. I think it took 2 years. It took me 2 years to wait until I get into the trial, the court trial. So a trial of an annulment case normally involves three main witnesses: the petitioner, which is me, the psychologist, and a corroborating witness, a friend or a relative who knew the couple and initially knows about their marriage. The respondent, the ex, my respondent, which is my ex, is notified throughout the process and can appear to contest the petition. If that happens, the annulment will get even more complicated. So you don't want your respondent to contest the petition, or else it's going to get even more complicated. With my case, it was fine, everything is okay. He did not contest, so which is okay. So another question here I have is there such a thing as a non-appearance annulment? So the answer for that is no. Okay, it's a no. So a non-appearance annulment is illegal. So you will be required to testify in court by person or video conference. So yes, video conference, they allowed video conference, okay? So still, that means you are showing, not just by face, but not by face-to-face, but via video conference. Because of the pandemic, courts are now allowed to conduct the pre-trial and by video conference, and but this is not automatic. So it needs an approval approval of the court. So because I was working abroad, I have to do everything via email, transportation of documents, and video conference, everything like that. So the last thing that I have to do after my my trial, is now the decision from the court. So after my trial, so yes, I have had 3 witnesses in my trial, by the way. So it's me, some of my family members, I'm not going to tell you anymore. So anyway, so we had a video conference with the prosecutor, the judge, my attorney, me, and my witnesses. So some of my witnesses were from my side and some of my witnesses are from his side. So Anyway, the last thing that you have to do now after the trial is the decision of the court. So after the witnesses are heard, the case is submitted for the decision of the court. And from the time the decision is rendered, there is a 15-day period from the latest receipt of any party within which a motion for reconsideration can be filed. If you ever change your mind, you can file a motion for reconsideration. So you have 15 days. If your annulment gets approved, good for you. Good for you. Unfortunately, the judge did not approve my annulment as yet because of the lack of evidences. That's what she said. So, but I think we have all the information needed. I have provided more than what I could provide. I have, a lot of money, a lot of emotions, a lot of everything. I've given everything in this case. But unfortunately, you can't have it all. So anyway, I still feel positive about it. And yeah, it's just because lack of evidences. So that means we can still push through. So yeah, so my attorney, he filed another one, and then now we're waiting again for another court trial. So with that being said, I have to get more relevant information by submitting more documents and pay for more money, and which is not new to me. In the Philippines, only in the Philippines. So I have 3 more people that will serve as my witnesses again for the trial. And so now I'm waiting for another court trial. Yes. So remember that if the court did not approve due to lack of evidences, that means you have to continue to appeal to the court. But you have to be, again, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and financially ready. So in my case, I was so upset. Really, really upset. But I am positive that everything is going to be all right. So, things happen, but you just have to build yourself again, and, you just have to keep, hoping for it. And so, yeah, that's the story of my annulment. And I hope that you get important, good information about my topic. And so, yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Please, 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 please don't forget to subscribe and like and share, please, if you can. Again, thank you so much, and God bless. Bye.